Let's bring in Mark Alabi here.
Okay.
How do you agree with him in terms of like why these young men would want to
endanger their lives the way they do?
Largely, I agree with him. I mean, election violence has its roots in poverty, degraded moral values. It's an African problem. It's a third world problem. Not really an African problem. It's a third world problem. Underdeveloped countries have a lot of unemployed youths who are malleable. And, you know, as the good book says, the devil finds a workshop in idle hands. And so, in order to survive, a politician promises heaven on earth to these youths. And they, in turn, are ready to, they say a person who is down fears no further fall. Because he's already down anyway, so he's going to take any risk just to survive. And election violence has been with us. If we go back to the history of democratic process in Nigeria, I mean, what led to the fall of the First Republic was due to the terrible, atrocious violence that we experienced in Nigeria. I remember vividly the late Alhaji Waziri Ibrahim, the apostle of politics without bitterness, the founder of GNPP at that time. You know, he brought a new dimension into politics in Nigeria because he preached politics without bitterness. And I've also had some politicians say that, look, the blood of any Nigerian is not worth being shared for the ambition to govern Nigeria. Why do politicians want power? That is a critical question. You want power to rule or you want power to serve? If you want power to serve, and the people don't want you, for goodness sake, give it up. You want to serve. You shouldn't want to serve me by force. And so I think that is a lesson that has to be passed on, no matter how many times you say it. That lesson has to be reiterated so that our people know that, look, these politicians want to come and serve you. They want to come and serve us. And so we cannot die. If we die,
it's not a do or die matter, is it?
It shouldn't be.
Okay. We've since been joined by Mrs. Juliet Benitier of the Institute of National Transformation. Good morning.
Good morning.
You have listened to part of the discussion as you came in. We're looking at election violence, and you heard what Mr. Makalabi just said. But do you think that for as long as the locker is as sweet as it is, do you think we can ever do away with election violence, where you can go from abject poverty into being a billionaire in a matter of months once you're a politician and you are voted into office?
Like my last speaker said, I mean, of course, election violence has always been with us. We must realize that. And being introduced with the scramble for Africa and a spirit that has been released into Africa of the understanding of leadership. We haven't got into that place of understanding leadership. The leadership that we are aware of is the feudal system where there's an oga who controls everybody. And even in their control, there's competition to get attention and to get wealth. So the ideology of leadership and politics is not what we are operating on, the right ideology. We are still under the influence of a feudal system that one big man is going to make money and my joining force with him will gain me money. It's all about greed.
I'll get some crumbs off the table.
It's greed. The bottom line, because you don't fight for your life and make nonsense of your precious life because of a position. It is not the position. It is the finance behind those positions. So people are desperate in a society that we have built over the years, from the time of independence now, that we don't have a proper society where all of us have an opportunity to gain from that society. So a few are gaining. Because even after the scramble of Africa by the colonial masters, we also have the scramble for Nigeria. Nigeria is literally being owned by a few people who believe they own Nigeria. And as long as that ideology rules the land, that some godfathers, this father owns west, south, east, and they have shared us up, there will be violence. Because below the sharing, there are foot soldiers to ensure that system. And they have been warped up in their imagination. Those guys are not working with a normal brainwave. So we have work to do through several sectors to ensure the young man who is being used, being literally used, the parents, the religious sector, and the educational sector needs to rise up and reorientate society that this is not leadership that you're seeing. With this kind of leadership, we will never get to the place that we want to get to.
Okay.
Yeah, there's poverty on the one hand, and I suppose there's also the self-worth. How do we now go about getting the young man to have some kind of self-worth? And he gets to that position where he refuses to be used, even though he doesn't have money, because he will realize that his life is at stake. How many of them got killed the last time?
I mean, they don't have the self-worth. That's the reality. And
Yeah, I mean, how do we get them to that position?
No, that's what I'm saying. The religious sector, educational sector, and the family. You and I are sitting here. I don't think I have everything I need, but I'm not going to go out on behalf of anybody to
And
get
get
myself
killed.
killed. I don't have. Right now, if you check my bank account, maybe something is not right there. But that would not make me follow a fellow and go and lay down my life, because I have been taught by family, by my values in Christianity, that that is not worth my while. So we, the church or the mosque, each one of us need to ask deliberate questions. How are we training people today? Because see, this thing is a whole process. It goes right deep. And cutting at the surface, violence is a manifestation of the many immorality at the ground, both poverty, not just poverty, but morality. Because whether you are poor, you have moral values, you can check your poverty. I mean, we all have needs. Yeah. We won't go and pick up a gun because I have needs to meet that need. Yeah. So that's what the society in general must be sanctioned. And you know, when I was coming this morning, what occurred to me is that we are not arresting people for the violence they create. In 2011, violence happened. We didn't judge that. When a society has no judgment and the rule of law, people will continue to do the things that they're doing and think they can get away with it because they have one political cloud around them. And that's the crisis.
Mr. Kafo, you were going to say something.
Yes, I was going to just react to what he said, that poverty is the main reason you have people, you can easily recruit people into electoral violence. And I have a reservation over that because in poverty, it's not every poor person or every unemployed person that you can recruit into violence. Exactly. I have followed the electoral trends in Nigeria since the Fourth Republic, since 1999. We've observed the elections throughout, and you discover that in most places, the same group of people who perpetrate this violence, they will be the people you can recruit next time, and their condition has not changed. It's the same thing in my own area in 2003. There are two boys that, if you want to win an election, you go and recruit them. Yeah, they will be the ones to snatch the ballot box. They will carry it, and before you know it, they will run away with it and do what they want to do. And most people that have been trying to win an election, they've been using them. I can tell you the last election, the last governorship election in my state, they were checkmated. Some people now came and...
Which state is this, please?
Anambra State, I have to say that.
It had to be Anambra.
Yeah, why I'm saying this is that there are practical things, and why I say it's not poverty. If it's poverty, you earn some money, and with that money, you should be able to invest it to improve your life. But you discover that...
And retire from violence.
From violence. But if you do the same thing over and over and over, and your life has not improved, then I don't think it's poverty, because you are not making any headway and you are doing the same thing, and different people have passed through you and become members of the House of Assembly or members of the National Assembly, and you're still where you are. So it's not poverty.
The issue,
there are so many other variables anyway.